I hope you've had a fantastic Thanksgiving week. We are coming up to my favorite part of the year at church, and that is Advent, the celebration and preparation of the coming of the Savior. We anticipate, just as people have throughout the ages, and then we receive his promise every Christmas. We celebrate that Jesus came into the world to save us. The sunset reminds me of that. As I look at a sunset is beautiful, but also can be sort of sad feeling. It's the end of a day. Whatever we look forward to that day, it's wrapping up. The night is coming. And sometimes in life, whether it's just a short-term wrapping up of something that we've been doing that day, or a project we've been working on, or maybe it's life itself. It can be different things, but we come to those points where things are wrapping up and we wonder, how do we make sense of that? A lot of times we ask those sorts of questions as we come into Advent because we hear all this joyfulness around us and we think, well, how do I make sense of this? I'm reminded of what we read in Luke chapter 2 about Simeon. Simeon was a man, an older man, who had been told that he would not die before he saw the Lord's salvation come into the world. And as he saw Jesus, he sort of saw his own sunset, you might say. He saw that his life was now going to be completed. But notice what he says as he reflects on what's happening before him. In verse 29 of chapter 2, he says, "Now according to your word, sovereign Lord, permit your servant to depart in peace, for my eyes have seen your salvation, that you have prepared the presence of all peoples, a light for revelation to the Gentiles and for glory to your people Israel." When he sees God's promise, the one that we celebrate every year at this time, happen right before his eyes, and he knows that his life stretches to that point, he's joyful because he knows that what he thinks of as the end of his earthly life isn't really the end. And whether it's the end of something we've just devoted the last moments that we've been spending just this year on, or it's something where we're thinking about the overall life that we've had, we need to remember that God has more. And sometimes it's just the next project or the next calling in life, and sometimes it is being called into his presence at the end of life. But there's more. And so Simeon, even though he is facing the end of his life, he celebrates and he's thankful. That's a great reminder on Thanksgiving week that as we think about being thankful and as we go into Advent, it doesn't mean that we're going into it saying everything's going to go smoothly, or that there aren't any places where we're struggling to reconcile the beauty and majesty of what we're seeing with also it signifying an end. But we know it's not the end. And that's the joy that we encounter in Advent and at Christmas. I want to encourage you, we have two special events coming up. On the end of the first week of Advent, December 6th, we have O Christmas Faith Tree. It's a great event to invite people to. We'll go through the whole story of salvation. We'll think about how sin comes into the world, and we do face those broken times and ending times, but we celebrate with joy, singing those songs we love to sing, because we come to the promises of God. And we'll hear from our friends around the world as we celebrate together. Also, exactly 1 week later, on December 13th, we are going to have Blue Christmas. And again, whether it's just mourning some of the uncertainty in the world, whether it's actually grieving the loss of a loved one, or maybe what you're facing in your own life with health or work or family or whatever it might be, whatever those burdens are, that you see the sunset and you're thinking more about how it's getting dark than seeing the beauty that's lighting up the sky, and you're thinking, how do I get into the Christmas spirit? That's a special night for all of us as we carry those burdens together. And I encourage you, join us. Each time we are going to spend some time in that dark mystery of an Advent evening, celebrating God's goodness. But that time is going to especially take us in whatever those darker places are that we face, and carry us to the hope that we find that Jesus came into the world to bring light into that darkness, to bring a dawn that never sets into that darkness. So we have more information on our website. I encourage you to check out littlehills.church/Christmas. It's easier to type than to say, littlehills.church/Christmas, and find out all the details. Invite someone you know that could be blessed by it, And just remember, as we're giving thanks this week and giving thanks for the goodness that's coming ahead, even as we struggle to understand some of it, the thing that we hold on to, just like Simeon, is that God's work is not done yet, but we can see exactly where he's taking all of his people. May we trust in him and know that's true for us. Hope you have a wonderful and blessed day, blessed week, and hope to see you at these events plus our special Advent Sunday services. I'll see you very soon.